Ready?
Okay.
And
Yep.
we are a go. I'm the Amazing Vito, and my guest today is Ben Beyl, all the way from, I forgot to ask you where, but don't worry, you don't need to tell me exactly.
Okay.
Just where about?
South Dakota.
South Dakota?
Yep.
Oh wow! And he is in a bunker right now, so I believe he's bear hunting. And if you see a little blonde thing running around, I believe that's his child.
Well,
Don't.
no, his mom just got him. So.
Oh, great. So his mother cub took him. So he's safe. Don't worry about it. He's fine. Um, yeah. So today's topic is well. Before we start, I'm gonna do a little magic trick because I do uh, comedy magic. I haven't done it in a while. So I've been a lot of my buddies have been doing shows on the net and just kind of bugs me, and I'm just like, eh. So I'll try it on you. All right.
All
Pick
right. So
All right, ready? Pick a number between 1 and 10. Got it in your head?
yeah.
It was 7.
No, it was 6.
No, it was 7. All right, so let's get this show going. All right, here we go. So it's about cryptozoology, and Ben was nice enough to I was on Facebook there, trying to look at ex-girlfriends and stuff, and I saw cryptozoology come up, and I've yeah, see, when I was growing up, I loved the Loch Ness monster. Right, that was my thing. My first time I ever did any uh, thing in school where my teacher thought, "Wow, he actually likes this." She put on the board. She put down Loch Ness monster, and I actually said, "I want to do that one." So I actually stole the library book. So which was bad. I didn't know you had to return them. That was the
Yeah.
thing. So I got it somewhere. God, if they ever call me, it'll be like I probably owe them like 3.7 million.
Yeah.
That man, let's all right. We should stop talking about that. All right, so cryptozoology is see. I was reading it off my phone here, and it was just in other words, the scientific community does not what's the right word, they don't believe like they don't believe that it's a science, right? Like an
Yeah.
like an elephant, you could go see an elephant or whatever, a scientifically studied elephant, or whatever, any creature, they don't consider like a Bigfoot unless they have one,
Yeah.
uh, to study, dissect, or whatever they have to do. They don't believe that. So cryptozoology. How did you? And I thank you for being to come on, because a lot of people are very they know I do stand up, so they think I'm going to be rude or mean to them, and I'm not. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Uh, but I thank you for that, because some people just they're like, no, no, I don't want to. I want to stay away from that. So I thank you, Ben, for coming on.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
so you tell me, what got you, like, what okay, first of all, cryptozoology, what do you believe in, and what would you like to see, and what are things that on your mind about the study of cryptozoology?
There's a lot with cryptozoology. Uh, later on, I'll have some couple other examples, but like the mountain gorilla is actually a cryptid. Believe it or not, science didn't believe it existed, and then I think it was like 1929 is when they finally went on an expedition and found it and made an actual species. And actually, in Vietnam in the 80s, there's a monkey found that tribes were talking about for years, and then I believe it was 1986 is recognized as a species.
Right. I know what you're talking about, but with with all of those, and I forget that fish. Remember, for the longest time, there was that giant fish. They say scientists, somebody found.
Coelacanth.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, coelacanth.
They- Yeah, they thought it didn't exist, and then there it was.
Well,
City.
they thought it'd been extinct for millions of years because it was in a fossil record with the dinosaurs, and it still
Right,
actually exists today. So yeah.
right. So the thing is, I think what scientists want is a specimen,
Yeah.
right? That's the thing. I
Yep.
mean, I've heard of stories where, what was one of them, where um, Russian soldiers, there was a cave, and they believe that there was a Yeti of some sort inside.
There's
And
a couple different ones. There's a Yeti. Also, I've heard the story where it was um
where they fired on this thing, and it grabbed one of the soldiers.
okay,
That's a story that I heard.
okay, because I've heard the Russian story where there was cavemen, Neanderthal too. I've heard the story about that.
No,
Russian.
this happened during like World War II, and
Okay.
it was a bunch of, maybe you didn't hear the story, but the story goes that a bunch of Russian soldiers, uh, I don't know, something happened, and uh, they called it a wild man, but they said this thing was huge. It grabbed one of the soldiers. It went inside of a cave, and they, as Russell Crowe in Gladiator would say, unleashed hell, and just fired everything. They probably killed their own guy, but
Yeah, probably.
yeah. So it's Russians. It's vodka. You know, it's like, what happened to Boris? Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, he's in Canada making $1 million playing $1 million a period playing hockey. So yeah, so these stories, here's the thing that I just want, see, there's a guy, what's his name? I'm going to interview him in a couple weeks or whenever he's free. He's a very busy man, but he debunks um, Ben Rathford.
Oh, okay. Yep, I've heard of him before.
Yeah. So he's a really nice guy, and he always debunks them, and we always talk about it. We love talking about sort of thing. And I talked to him today. I said, "Hey, did you coin the phrase chupacabra?" And he goes, "No, that was a Mexican DJ that did that." So, anyways, so he's not, he's somebody that I guess people at the cryptozoology community, I guess he's enemy number one. But he's I understand what he's trying to do. We all want to uh, uh, we all want to know what the hell what's out there, right?
Yeah.
And I the problem has been that I was just on the page, and somebody put down, I wrote it down somewhere. That's how professional I am. I don't want to look it up, but they wrote down that they found a Bigfoot on, maybe I wrote it down. Yeah, Sasquatch shot and killed on Highway 99, British Columbia. So to me, that hurt. Like, unless it is a real Bigfoot, you know,
Hmm.
then okay, great. But there's so many people out there that are faking, purposely trying to, we all would like to find one, right?
Yeah.
But the last thing I would ever want to do is, if I would, people say, well, you would shoot one or whatever. I wouldn't shoot one. You know what I mean? I couldn't.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just not. I could shoot my neighbor, no problem, right? But a 9 foot, 600 pound, gorilla, I just couldn't, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, when people do these things where they say, Bigfoot, this example that I just gave you, do you think that hurts the community?
I don't know if it hurts the community or not, because like we just discussed with the mountain gorilla and the monkey that I talked about in Vietnam, there needs to be science needs to recognize it as a body, and there doesn't seem to be any other way science will accept that. But at the same time, there's people that make sightings up just to get their name in the news or on a forum or something. So
Yeah, there was a guy. Sorry, go on.
I find the hoaxes and the people that make stuff up is more harmful than um, someone with a headline that says Bigfoot shot on Highway 99, because that might just be a fake headline. So
Right. So, I wanted to ask you about, remember that show, uh, Finding Bigfoot?
yep, yep. I didn't really watch it, but I have watched a handful of episodes.
The title of that is a little misleading.
Yes, uh, as like I listened to an interview with Bobo, and he said it's just produced for entertainment, and that's all that really was. Same
Yeah,
with Mountain Monsters, and I think it was Mountain Monsters Alaska. They're just produced for entertainment.
what where
So
those guys, the hillbillies, go out and they pretend they're shooting at something, and
yeah, yeah.
is that the show?
Mountain Monsters. Yep.
Yeah, Mountain Monsters. Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's for I get it, it's for entertainment, but there are people out there that really want to know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you really want to know, are there really these creatures out there? What I like about science is, every day they're finding new every day
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah.
finding new things. um will they find a Bigfoot, a live one, or will they ever? I don't, I to me, if they can't, I mean, they could find my uncle that owns the government, like, I can't say, but anyways, they could find him, no problem. But
Yeah.
a 9 foot hairy dude, they can't find him. That's where people just go, I just cannot. And then there's that argument where, the other end of the argument is saying, there's the planet is so big.
Hmm.
There are areas of the planet that just man has not, uh just checked out. Where even my daughter showed me this video, and I said, yeah, I saw that years ago, where, um there was a video of a group living out in the jungle, and they've never seen a white person. And yeah, I believe it was Detroit. So no, they've never seen a white person. And it showed the first time this tribe and white peop people, they met for the first time. You can see the fear. Both of them were kind of scared,
Yep.
because, it's the first time when for the white guys, they were fine. They were going, wow, this is a tribe. But for the tribe, they were terrified. And then they explained afterwards, the tribe, they used to think it was gods, uh, whenever they would see a plane fly,
Hmm.
they would think it was a god,
Yep.
right? So there's plenty of places on this planet where, uh, you know, uh, that man has not gone to, which is a good thing, right?
Oh yeah, it is a good thing.
Now, do you think, they will ever find one?
Possibly. I mean, they've got the remains of like Gigantopithecus, which all they have is a couple pieces of skull and teeth, so they don't even know what that really was for size. So you can't kind of throw that out for being. I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but they don't have like femurs and stuff and whatnot to know exactly what size it is. They're just going off of models of teeth compared to the size.
Right.
But which usually is fairly accurate, I have to say. But we still don't know until you get more substantial bones. Finding one, I go back and forth if they're real or not. I mean, I've often said they were probably real at one point and no longer exist, but then you get new sightings every year. So if they are real, eventually they probably will be found.
See, I talked to a guy I interviewed a long time ago. His name's Aaron Raw, and he, when I asked him about Bigfoot, just to be different, right? And
Mhm,
he said, this is what he told me. He's a big dude,
mhm.
and he had a beard, and he was out in the middle of nowhere, in the I can't remember exactly where he was, but anyways, he had to, I think his car broke down or something. He had to walk along this stretch of road in the middle of a snowstorm, and he's a big man, big beard.
Yep.
It sounds like I'm talking about Ben here,
Me. Yeah.
but but what happened was is when he went into town, there were people in the bar saying, "I just saw Bigfoot." It was
Yeah.
and they were convinced, and he's sitting at the bar trying to tell people it was him,
Yeah.
because he is a big man, and he just, he was wearing this big brown coat or whatever.
Oh, yep. Yep.
So, you know, and when I did talk to um, Ben Radford about it, the more I see, where people go, yes, I've seen a Bigfoot, or, this happened. Somebody told me a story of when they were a child and they saw a Bigfoot, and, that's a cool memory. But to me, it's kind of like, uh, could it be a bear standing and walking that you know,
Possibly. Yeah.
when what happens is your mind will kind of, it just doesn't make sense, because you always think bears will just walk along, four-legged, but for a bear to stand up and walk can kind of throw people off, and especially if you're young.
Oh, yeah. I haven't hunted bear, but from my understanding, with like especially like black bears with a black coat and the fuzziness, they're hard to see. They're hard to see. And a great example I've got for myself, I was working at a cafe and or cafeteria type deal in college, and I was walking past the bakery. I looked into the bakery. I swear to God, I saw a freaking werewolf. But you know what? That was just my mind playing tricks on me. So that just like I knew it was my mind playing a trick on me because it just kind of materialized. Like
Right, right.
how pixelized all of a sudden. Yeah. That was my mind playing a trick on me because I blinked a couple of times. When I turned the light on. Yeah, there's nothing there. So
Right. Yeah, it's like, and acid can do that to you too. You do enough acid, you will see some pretty, laser Floyd. Go see that on acid. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, I think that's the thing, that it's in the psyche of people, that you want to, it would be cool to see one.
oh yeah,
It
it
would be
would be.
cool. But just with the evidence that they have out, all they really have is what I've seen is just tracks. And
Yeah.
I've seen people uh, make fake tracks on specials on TV or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They'll go out and make tracks, and see, those people that do that are really doing a disservice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? They're not really helping the community. All they're doing is, uh except for one guy, he's an old man, I forgot his name. but he notices that the way the feet are, that
Just Malcolm.
yeah, that guy, and he
Yep.
says the way the feet are, and he's a scientist.
The dermal ridges, just like your fingerprints.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and you kind of, in a way, you feel, I felt bad for him because the scientific community shuns him,
hmm
and he is a scientist.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what he said is kind of, if you believe, like if you're a scientist and you were to come out and say, hey, an alien landed in my lawn, and came in and had dinner with me, that would be the ending of your career,
hmm
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the battle that he has to endure. But he's gone out and he's looked at these, and yes, he says some of them, like the guy from, his name's Moneymaker, that guy. I
Pat
mean,
Bundy.
yeah, if you fart, he's like, yeah, that's a Bigfoot. That's totally a Bigfoot. And I'm like, you're not helping, man. Really, you're not helping your cause. Not everything is a Bigfoot, pal. Hey, look at, a Buick just went by. Yeah, it's a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot. It just, no. But, there are other people out there that will sit there and, you know, actually do an investigation. Well, they'll sit down, talk to the person. When did this happen? And what's neat about it, what I see is a person that just babbles like I am right now.
hmm
There's somebody that I don't really believe. You know what I mean? Like if they're just, but when this guy would go out and talk to people, it was like pulling teeth to
hmm
try and get a grain of like what happened. Can you tell me what happened? And the person doesn't really want to tell,
Yeah.
because it can be very, it's a traumatic thing, you know.
Especially like with the attack stories and stuff. If it's like beating on your house, that's
Yeah.
very traumatic situation there.
Yeah, there was one guy that he said it literally, it was him and his son, and picked up his vehicle. Now for me, why would he lie? That's what I don't understand. Like why would he involve his son? And his son, was, I believe was about 10 or 11. But when you could tell somebody's lying
hmm
just by the way they're talking. You tell they're lying, you know?
Oh yeah.
And with this guy, it just seemed like, no, he seemed like he was being truthful. He was, you know, I mean, for something to pick up your vehicle, and he was driving a truck. So had to be super strong, pick up your vehicle. It didn't want him in the area, whatever it was, it didn't want him there. And it put the fear in him, like, and this is a hunter, and
Yeah.
he's got guns, and
Yeah.
he was terrified, so I can't sit there and say, yeah, it was a Bigfoot. I don't know, I wasn't there, but all I know,
Exactly. Weren't there because
all,
the,
all, all I know is weird things have been happening, and people, I really wish people that everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, but
yeah.
you want people that, if it did happen, you hope they come forward, and I just hope that they have better evidence, like better, like what is it, the Patterson film, right?
Yeah.
So
Patterson give him
yeah, that one there, that was done in 19, what is it, 65 or something?
68.
68.
68 if I'm correctly.
Oh, that's like
Yep.
my dad's Camaro, 1968. So he did. He's a beautiful RS Camaro. So uh, yeah, that video, as grainy as it is, uh, the other videos that I've seen where people have, the
hmm
technology now. I mean, you walk around with this
Yeah.
this thing here. Everybody's got one of these.
Exactly.
right? So that's the thing that bothers me is they talk about, hey, I saw a Bigfoot or whatever, but yet I'm like, well, did you not have your cell phone? Because everybody I know has their bloody cell phone with them. You know,
Yeah.
take
Well, some of the things that, like, weird things I've seen, like I can't explain the light I saw one time. I'm not even going to speculate what it is. I was pulling stuff out of a car from a trip, and I could see it off in the distance coming. I didn't pay it any mind until I got closer, and I grabbed my spotlight and shined on it, and I'm like, "Well, this is weird." And then it's just like, you know what? I'm just going to go in the house because I was a little freaked out because it's like no noise, just this light just floating around. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to deal with it." I didn't even think to grab my phone was in my pocket. I was listening to a podcast. I didn't even think to take a video of it. So
I wish you did. It's
I
after
know I wish it did too.
it's always that. That's what sucks. I hate bringing my phone. I hate taking it. Like I like going on hikes and stuff, right?
Yep. Yep.
But I notice when I go on hikes, there'll be deer, there'll be a woodpecker, there'll be like there'll be like a giant bass will jump out of the lake, and it's just
Oh yeah.
and I'm like it was really cool. Me and my son saw um, uh, an eagle grab we were looking up and I go look, like I couldn't believe it. My son's going, he's got a fish, and
Hmm.
I've never seen that.
Oh
and
yeah.
and of course I left my cell at home, where if I took a video of it, it would have been beautiful. I would have
Hmm.
came home, put it up online, and go check this out. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
it's kind of like they know the animals are like, hey, he doesn't have anything with him. All right, let's dance. You know?
No, kids are the same way. Last week, my son was doing something, and I'm like, "Oh, I should get a video." And then before I got my phone out, he was done doing whatever it
Yeah,
was. So,
I know.
yeah.
That's the I know. It's like he's doing a handstand eating a peanut butter sandwich, and
Yeah.
it'll be something cool. But yeah, all right, so hopefully they find better evidence, because I've seen so many of these shows where guys will come on. There was one guy that you heard about, the one guy that he said he had one in his freezer.
Oh, I think that was in Minnesota, if I remember right. And then he did tours with it, and it was
Yeah,
out to be a monkey suit with meat stuffed in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, it really doesn't help the society. So,
No, it doesn't.
it just makes it look, and I love watching anything with Bigfoot.
Oh
Where
yeah.
my wife's like, here you go. She leaves the room, and I'm just like, come on.
I even like watching the sci-fi movies, even though they're super cheesy, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah.
I like the escape of it. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I love the escape. I love the whole if you see a Bigfoot, like what would you do if I
Oh
saw
yeah.
a Bigfoot? And I'll tell you right now what I would do. I would run like a gazelle.
Yeah.
You know, I would run like I did when I was 19. Like
I probably just stand there with my jaw dropped, like, "Am I actually seeing this?"
I think the first thing you would do is, yeah, am I actually seeing this? But if it was a Bigfoot, like if it was like a 9 foot hairy Bigfoot, I don't I think terror would be the first thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, th- our human mind can only comprehend what we've already experienced. So something that's 9 foot tall and 6, 7, 800 pounds and solid muscle that can tear you in half, you're not going to be able cope with it that well. So
That'd be funny if you run away and all of a sudden it turns you like a raven or something. Goes, why do they always run?
yeah. Oh yeah.
It took me 10 years for me to speak to somebody, and They always run. Forget
Yeah.
it. I'll give it another 10 years,
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope, it'd be cool because for me, Ben, what I think is really cool, we all want a mystery.
Yeah.
Deep down inside, we all want this, you know, I mean, I did a parody of a ghost show, and it was a comedy ghost show, but down deep inside, people ask, they're always like, you believe in that, or you, and I'm like, I down deep inside, I want to believe, I want there to be that mystery where I remember filming and people are like, oh, you set that up or whatever, and I'm like, you could ask the cast that was there. Weird things did happen a few times that
Oh,
you can't explain.
yeah. There's things in this world you can't explain right now.
So yeah, and that's the thing that kind of threw everybody off. And I'll tell you right now, I had to, being the leader of the pack, directing this, I had to calm everybody down and say, just relax. Meanwhile, I was absolutely, shitting myself, just going that, let's hurry up and film this, and let's get out of here. Cause I had a couple of people, I had the girls were crying. They were like, I want to get out of here. I want to go. And I go, no, 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 no. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But inside I'm going, that was disturbing.
What happened?
What happened was, is okay, we were doing a seance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And it was a fake seance.
Okay.
And the psychic that I had, I
Mm-hmm.
never, I'm not a friend of the psychics. Okay. So, because I think anybody that says they have the power to talk to dead people, I think are charlatans, right? That's me personally. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I got her, and she was like from outer space. Like she was just, and I tried to um, explain the history when we film of the location. Like it was at a theater. I said,
Okay.
I go, okay, so when I talk to her, I kind of drop these little hints. So if I said to you, I go, okay, Ben, listen, an old lady owned the place. She was the original owner,
Mm-hmm.
and her name was Eleanor. Okay. So, anyways, I'll see you tonight at, when we tape, because I wanted to try and be as real as possible, but still throw some comedy in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, she, uh, everything I said to her, she didn't bring up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I'll put a link to it because I'll put a link at the end so everybody could see it for themselves what happened. Um, what happened was when uh, uh, she was talking about the theater, the history of the theater. She talked about a little boy, and I was like, "What is she doing? Like, it's an old lady. I told you owned the place,
Yeah.
and she goes, this little boy was killed uh, handing out pamphlets outside, just outside the theater. Downstairs, there was a printing press,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to, and all of a sudden, Ben, we started to smell. You ever smell printed paper? Like if you ever printed like paper that has
Oh,
been photocopy,
like
like print.
yeah. Oh yeah. I used to work at a library and had to make copies
Yeah,
all the
well,
time.
it smelled like ink,
Yeah.
right? Like so, all of a sudden, the smell of ink, and I was like, okay, this is getting really kind of weird,
Yeah.
and and then all of a sudden, things from the back of the, like we were on stage, things were moving around behind the stage curtains,
Mm-hmm.
and it was us. It was like 5 in the morning, right? And it was only, there was about 9 of us on stage, and a
Mm-hmm.
cameraman, and I had a cameraman, a sound guy, and all of a sudden, no, I didn't even have a sound guy. Anyways, the all of a sudden things started moving around. You could hear something moving. And I
Mhm.
thought, okay, guys, calm down, just relax. And all of a sudden, it just got louder and louder, and the girls started getting upset. And I said, everything's cool, everybody calm down, everybody calm down. And all of a sudden, all you hear is this big smash, like somebody picked something up and threw it.
Yeah.
And everybody jumped off a stage. That's how terrifying it was. And
Yeah. I don't blame them.
I was shitting myself,
Yeah.
but I needed to get the ending done. So I needed to tell them to, I said, just calm down. I remember going in the back shaking, like this is a theater. I'm there, and I had to get another guy to come with me because he was like, no, I don't want to go. And I go, just come with me, genius. I'm not going back there by myself. And
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
and I'm walking around just going like, what was that? And like a whole table was moved and nobody was back there. It was impossible. We were the only ones in the theater. So it was weird things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what happened. But I'll put a link and you can see for yourself. It scared the living shit out of people, you know.
Oh, I bet. I My wife was in Indianapolis for an internship, and I'm at the house that we used to live at when we lived in North Dakota, and my dog and I are sitting on the bed, and we're watching. Actually, I think it's some B-rated Thor movie, if I remember correctly. And the door is locked to the bedroom, and we, of course, we got roommates and all that kind of stuff. Door's locked to the bedroom. All of a sudden, I hear steps come to the foot of the bed, around the bed, and into the bathroom. The fan gets knocked over, which the bathroom door was shut, didn't open. Just all of a sudden, the fan gets knocked over. My dog. I was like, oh my god, he'd be hearing things. I look down. My dog is watching where the steps were at. So yeah, it's freaky when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, my Rottweiler used to freak me out and just stare at the wall, and I go, "What are you on, man? Are you in my hash again? Like what are you doing? Like
Yeah,
what are you looking at?" Just
I
stare
know.
He would just stare at the wall, and I go, "You are a dumb dog. Like what are you doing? You're freaking me out because
Yeah,
I'm watching a scary movie." So, she's staring. This is a big, 130-pound Rottweiler just staring at a wall growling. So, I was just like, but here's another time. I had to do. I had to do. I did it. It was a comedy ghost show called Spirit Seekers, and
okay.
so it was like we were the worst ghost hunters on the planet.
Okay.
That was the whole thing about it. So we would literally go to these haunted locations, and I would write a script out, and one of them was at a school. Okay,
Hmm.
where they let us film at a school. So I asked the, uh, uh, anyways, it was a school, right? And I, of course, got to ask permission and do everything. And so we go there, we film it. And there was one room that when I went in there to film with the other actor, I told him that, okay, I just need you to walk around here looking for a ghost, okay? You and the other guy, right? And I couldn't really remember because we had to stop filming. What happened was is even the sound guy, if you could hear it, something um started scratching the wall, like behind the actor. Oh, I'll tell you, it gives me shivers now. And I was
Oh,
standing there in the dark because I had to film everything in the dark.
yeah.
And I was sitting there just going, just go do your lines. Like he's trying to do his lines. And he's a good actor, this guy, right?
Yeah.
So he's having a hard time. And finally he stops because you keep hearing the scratching,
Yeah.
right? Like this awful scratching noise. So what happened was, uh I said, okay, he's and finally he said, he's the one that said stop. He said, is
Mm.
somebody playing a joke? And I said, God, I was furious because I said, we only have so much time. So
Yeah.
I said, guys, what's going on here? Is somebody screwing around? I went to behind the teacher's desk to see if somebody's hiding back there to being stupid, and there was
Yeah.
nobody there. So we had to stop filming, and I remember just going, I told, his name's Tyler. I go, Tyler, let's just power through this and let's get out of this room, do your scene. And and the room, I'll tell you right now, Ben, that room was so cold. It was just a cold, you ever go somewhere and it's just no matter what, you're just uncomfortable. You
Yep.
go into a room and all of a sudden you just feel uncomfortable. And I'm not scared of people. Like, guys don't scare me, but for
Yeah.
some reason this room kind of got me all weirded out. So afterwards, the next day, when I thanked the principal, because before I was there, I talked to her. I go, you don't believe in ghosts, right? Because I had to tell her what we were doing, right?
Mm.
And she said, oh, you're doing a comedy ghost show. Oh, that's great. And then they don't mind if you pay them, right? So she goes, I think it was room 551 or whatever. She goes, did you go into room 551 or something? Or room 305 or something, or 306? I couldn't remember the room number. It was so long ago. But I go, yeah, I went in that room. And I go, really weird things happen. She goes, yeah. She goes, really weird things happen all the time in that room. And I go, well, why? Like, why? And then in that room, it was for kids that have really bad learning difficulties, like couldn't
Hmm.
speak or
Yep.
whatever. And when I talked to Tyler, Tyler felt like something had jumped on his back. That's what he told me. Right. That's
Yeah.
that's when he said stop. He said he felt something on him.
Hmm.
So and when she said, she goes, years ago there was a student that and this scared the living shit out of me when she said this. She goes, years ago there was a student that uh jumped on the teacher's back all the time screaming.
Oh.
And when she told me that, I remember going, I'm not going to say anything to Tyler for a couple of days because we need to film other locations, but I don't want to get him all freaked out. But
Yeah.
everybody goes, that was fantastic acting. And I go, yeah, because he was shitting himself, you know, like,
Exactly.
yeah, I could act. I could, he could have won an Oscar that night. I mean, the fear, but behind the camera, the fear alone, if you're the leader, you got to pretend everything's cool. But
Oh yeah.
but inside, I mean, my heart's going like 90 miles an hour. I'm sweating. It's cold. I remember turning this way and I went, and it was like some smoke, like cold smoke came out. That's how cold the room got. And
Yeah.
everybody, even the sound guy, goes, Vito, I don't like this room. And I go, shut the, like, I just go, just shut up. Let's just get this done. And anyways, I'll put a link. It's great. I'm doing this. I'm supposed to be talking to him, and I'm talking about some show I did about 10 years ago that
That's part of my fault
that
too.
went nowhere. So, anyways, ghosts is another topic.
Oh yeah.
So um yeah, okay. So getting to back to uh cryptozoology. Uh what do you think of uh the Loch Ness monster? And when I put that up on the page, on
Hmm.
your cryptozoology page, there's like this one thing I can't stand is a spelling Nazi.
Yeah.
Oh God. I was just like, lady, please. Like, I was ready to just go up your, but I'm like, I got to talk to somebody. I got to talk to somebody. So I'll be nice, you know. But she's like, you mean Loch Ness? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Go knit me a kite, like, so
I didn't even see that part. I
yeah,
just
it was just annoying. It's like, shut up. I hate, like, I have uh uh really bad dyslexia. So my spelling is so poor. So I spelt it without even thinking, just Loch Ness monster.
mhm.
Like one word. I guess it's two words, right?
Yep.
So anyways, there's always an idiot out there going, nah, this is the way, you know. It's like, shut up. Please
Yeah.
shut up. I totally could beat her in a boxing match, you know. Like he could beat me in spelling or math, but boxing, I'll knock your teeth out, lady. All right,
Yeah.
so what do you think of the? And I got my Loch Ness monster mug for tonight. Can you see that? No,
Oh, there we go.
watch.
That's cool.
I'll drop it all over the. See?
Oh, that is cool.
Well,
I like.
you know what they do. Everybody knows I love the Loch Ness monster. So my sister-in-law, who hates my guts but pretends to like me,
Mhm.
she always gets me stuff from. I shouldn't say that. That was mean. Um, she always gets me stuff about the Loch Ness monster, like anything to do with collectibles or anything like that. But I've always fallen in love with. That was my first love as a child, was the Loch Ness monster. Uh, but what bothered me was the older I got and the more I tried to, I was like going, yeah, there is, there's a creature in that lake. There's a creature in that lake, and the more I looked into it, it wasn't. It was just like, it was like either, people are like, it's either a large catfish, but for it to be a plesiosaur, because that's what I thought it was.
Yep. Yep.
The people that even live at the loch said there's just not enough fish for a creature
That size.
that size to eat.
Yeah.
So that was a downer. Because you want to believe that that there is this creature in that lake. We've all seen that photograph of the
The submarine with the.
yeah, the submarine.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then see, that's one of my moves. On my deathbed, I would go, by the way, come closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would just go, you remember that crap about the Loch Ness? Yeah. Remember that submarine your my son had? Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
hey, that sucked. But what do you think about stuff like that? About Loch Ness and see, I for me, for Loch Ness, to me, the creature lives in my heart,
Hmm. Yep.
right? It's kind of a yeah, if it doesn't, doesn't exist, 99% it probably doesn't exist, but in my heart I like to believe it does, and when I
Yeah.
sleep at night I like to pretend it does.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. I know what you mean.
So you got to have that mystery. You got to have that what the hell is the point of life?
Oh yeah. Just like what's beyond what we know in space.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
I know a guy that um he studies, and I didn't believe it at first, but now they've declassified so many videos of uh what fighter pilots had to deal with, right?
Oh. Yep. Yep.
You
And
know what you know what I'm
they've been
talking about?
studying. Yep. They've been studying it for years, trying to figure out what's actually going on. And it's like, here's the proof. Finally, they say that UFOs exist and aliens, all that kind of stuff. It's like they don't know what it is.
But you know
So
what it is? I believe that aliens, of course there's aliens out there. You would be pretty uh
statistically, there has to be some kind of higher thinking, um, higher thinking entities in the world, because we're one planet. There's billions of planets out there. So
yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of people like to believe, that we're the only ones, and I'm like, no, no, no. What I believe, aliens that have visited, I think it's they would send a probe or something, and uh like um they would do it in a way that um they're kind of interested, but they're like, these guys are dumb. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like where it's kind of like I remember Neil deGrasse, what's his name? Neil Tyson deGrasse. He said, have you ever talked to a worm? That's what an alien like. Have you ever stopped and talked to a worm on the side of a road? You know, and I have actually. Whenever I'm on acid, I like to have conversations with twigs and uh, but he's just saying they're so advanced that they really don't they're not interested really in us. They it's kind of like they'll watch from a distance, but
mhm,
to sit there and say that the United States has um that's why they won the Cold War is because the aliens helped them out, then you got to say to yourself, how nice are these aliens? I mean, wouldn't they help out the whole world?
yeah.
Give everybody the technology? They wouldn't just give one. They would look at it and say, wait a minute, the United States is not sharing.
Hmm.
You don't want to make the Greys angry. You want to share that. So for me, I think they're out there, but I don't think they really give a crap about. They're kind of going, well, they're not really all that bright. They're always fighting. They're petty. They don't take care of their old. They're you know what I mean? They're not a very people like to think we're smart, and we're not. We're not as smart as we're not a kind species.
No, I listened to a podcast a couple weeks ago where they're saying talking about back and forth about aliens and finding us, and it's like we're young, we still have radios, stuff like that, and we're a young society technically. Because who knows how much more advanced other things are. I mean, we don't know what
Yeah.
they are.
I mean, if you're 1,000 years advanced, I mean, think about. I like to say, my son. I told this to my son. I go, okay, 100 years ago, or I'm sorry, like 120 years ago, we didn't even fly.
Yeah, and like I bring up with a lot of people, if 10,000 years ago, anatomically people are the same. If they could talk like you and I 10,000 years ago, imagine what it'd be like today.
Yeah, but see, I have the mind of a Neanderthal.
Yeah,
Like that's what my wife keeps telling me. She says, you really think like a Neanderthal, and men do. They really do. They really have this. We still are kind of connected, you know.
hmm
But yeah, 200 years ago or 150 years ago, um, technology wise, are you kidding me? If you showed up, you ever do this? You ever watch like a show like where they like it's an old show and they'll have like um you're watching like knights of old, and they're fighting on the battlefield,
Oh, yep, yep.
and I love those. But
Oh, yeah.
I always think, man, if you pulled out a machine gun, you would scare the shit out of her, and you'd win every battle.
Oh, I mean, wait, 150, about 150 years ago, a little bit farther back, 200 years ago, that happened in the United States. I mean, we had firearms and stuff like that. And natives, they're
Yeah,
still had,
that's true.
yeah. So,
Yeah, they didn't stand a chance. Like they really yeah, they didn't stand a chance
yeah.
going up against a yeah, anybody with a gun. You bring a
Yeah.
knife to a gunfight, you're gonna
Like,
lose.
actually, nowadays, you can actually look at it between a musket and a bow. You get more, you can shoot more rounds with a bow than the time it takes to load a musket, but you get a lot more range with a musket. So,
Yeah, but have you ever seen a musket when they fire it into a jelly? What it like one of those how it if you get hit by a musket,
yeah,
you're done.
it's very devastating.
Yeah.
And well, even firearms technology, talking about technology in the last 100 years, granted, yeah, we're just using the same brass, powder's different, and bullet construction's a little different, but it's pretty much the same for the last 100 years. And that's all the farther we've gotten with it, because they've tried with other things, and it's pretty much been its pinnacle for 100
Yeah.
years.
So yeah, the technology. I just think that if there are, aliens or whatever. I know this was supposed to be about Bigfoot and other thing, but and we're
Well,
talking about ghosts and we're talking about uh
it's
aliens.
it's
But
easy to derail.
Ben, the thing is, and I'm going to say this to the other Ben. Everyone loves a good mystery,
Yeah.
right? And that's with the way the world is today, man. You got to have something to, you know, have a good mystery. You don't want to know everything. Nobody can know everything.
No.
You're never going to know everything, no matter. Albert Einstein didn't know everything. He didn't even have a good tailor. I mean, he didn't. Just you know. So for people to crap on, uh, you know, uh, you know, anything like cryptozoology or anything like that. Yeah, not everything's perfect, but we love a good mystery, and hopefully one day they will, uh, uh, you know, you'll find what you're looking for, and hopefully if they do find something, they don't. Because I always worry. Like I would love if they found a Tassie tiger.
Oh yeah, Tasmanian tiger is one of my favorites.
Yeah, mine too, because of the jaw. I love that it could
Oh
it could
yeah.
it could open its mouth too. And I explained it to my son because I said, that just shows you how vicious man is. I mean, they were, I think the last one was around when my grandmother was born, and
1936 was when
yeah,
the last died.
yeah, yeah. So it was like my grandmother was around when this thing was walking
Hmm.
the earth, and now they have one in a glass jar that they're gonna try and
Hmm.
when that what do you think of that about making like they just found a wolf pup from like 10,000 years ago,
Oh, I saw that. Yep.
a woolly mammoth, woolly rhino. Um, what do you think about them when if they find creatures like this and they put the DNA and they could make a Tassie tiger or any of these creatures? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It probably isn't the smartest thing to do because things since they've died out, things have been changing. Like uh thylacine probably actually wouldn't be as bad wouldn't would make more sense because from my understanding, the genetic material for like anything 10,000 years ago, it's just not there to be able to recreate it. But like with thylacine or Tasmanian tiger, it would be cool to seeing it. And technically, that was its only predator on the island of Tasmania. So, oh, big predator. I mean, there's also like, um, uh, I can't think of the little one. Cartoon character for Looney Tunes.
The
Um,
Tasmanian, the you talking about the Tasmanian Devil?
yeah, yeah, because that's a predator too.
No,
But
they're still around, the Tasmanian Devils.
yeah, the devils are still around, but they're small.
Yeah.
But like, uh, the Tasmanian tiger was actually the uh, largest predatory marsupial until 1936. The
Yeah,
last one died.
yeah, they hunted them like I guess they got something like I can't remember how much money, but the government said every
It was a
state.
lot for the time.
Yeah. So
I mean,
guys were going out of their way to just
mhm,
slaughter these things, and it's kind of sad. It's a sad story actually.
it is because it happened in the United States with the wolves too. So
Yeah.
that's very controversial too. So,
Yeah, it is. It's kind of um I don't know. I mean, it is kind of evil. It is evil to do that to annihilate a creature. Uh,
but they also didn't know things just die off like that either. So you're looking at science from 100 years ago in Science Day. So
They didn't care. They didn't.
yeah,
It was all about the money, right?
yeah.
It's like,
When there's a bounty on something, yeah, it's all about the money.
yeah.
So,
I mean, my son's like, why do they keep hunting, elephants? Like, why don't they stop hunting elephants? And I'm like, son, that's a great question. But
it depends.
reality is the money. Guys will go, they'll shoot an elephant for the ivory, you know.
Yeah, and that's illegal doing that. We're like systematic systems where the money that goes towards, like, say someone goes to shoot an elephant, a lot of the time it's actually one that's killing other elephants, and that money goes to prevent poachers, stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the problem is okay, like Africa is so big that they could only afford so many rangers, and the guys are. I understand if you shoot an elephant, those guys could shoot you dead on the spot. Like
oh yeah,
they have the right to do that, but it just shows you that, um, hey man, money people will do. I mean, why do people fly cocaine over? You know what I
oh
mean? Like for me, hey, it'd be great making easy money, but you're just you're killing people, right?
mm,
But you're also, you get yourself killed. You go to jail for the rest of your life. I mean, you know,
yeah,
maybe a few times you might make it. I guess crime does pay if you get away with it, but
yeah,
think about what you've done. You've just killed a creature that didn't deserve that. Just, but when you're in a poor, when you're in a poor area, and somebody says to you, how much you make a year? $100 maximum.
yeah,
Well, how about if I give you $1,000? You're
yeah. You're
like, you know what I mean? You're thinking of the money.
because it's like with without legal hunting, there's no actual worth to the animal. So poaching is going to take over. That's the sad part about it. I mean, is that system perfect for hunting legally over there? No. It, but if you give it a value that's greater than what's greater than the black market value, that gives it a better economy around it, things can thrive then. But when there's when the people don't find value other than it gets in the way, yes, you can poach it, whatnot. It's just going to happen. So that's the
Yeah.
way I do it, anyways. But
In Toronto, they got rid of their elephants there because in wintertime, it was like, they would just be indoors. It was pretty much like us on lockdown right now. So it'd
yeah,
be like, these elephants that were from Africa were stuck in a, for 7 to 8 months out of the year in a, giant barn. Uh, it's pretty depressing.
yeah,
So, they did the right thing. As much as I love seeing the elephants, it's just they cannot, it's kind of it's a prison for them,
yeah.
uh
And even South Dakota, it's really too cold for that kind of stuff. I mean, well, you look at like mammoths or mastodons; they had small ears for heat displacement. African elephants have big ears so they can keep themselves cool.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and their ear looks like Africa. That's how I remember how you distinguish the two. The ear of an African elephant looks like
hmm
Africa.
yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of a, um, kind of sucks there. It
yeah,
just, you know. And then they're talking about, they might be starting whaling soon, start up in the next couple of years because they think the numbers are back up. And I'm like, no, you don't have to whale. And what the hell you got to go whaling for?
hmm
I just, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, are you just we're going backwards, you know?
hmm
Um, I don't know a lot of people that eat whale meat.
There's actually only one society that they do it for subsistence living. That's in the it's over by India, if I remember correctly, and they're the only ones legally who can whale, and they only do it like once or twice a year.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, but that's been in their society for thousands of years.
Exactly. And
yeah, and they don't use like harpoons. They have like they do it like it's very dangerous.
Yeah, and they only use motorboats for rescues, and they're using like dugout or burned out canoes to very
yeah, it's part of their it's I know, but if it's like if you're talking about some of the ships they have out there, they're just decimating, they say it's for scientific purposes, and you're like, really? It's not for scientific purposes. It's for make a buck on these animals. So do you see, hey, you like that show, The Unexplained?
Unexplained.
It's with William Shatner.
Oh, I loved that show when I was a kid. Yeah.
No, it's a new one. There's a new one.
No. I don't have cable, so I haven't watched it then.
It's on Discovery. It's called The Unexplained. Look it up. I kind of enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
Anything like what else do you want to, anything do you want to see the cryptozoology society? What would you like to see? How would you like to see it grow?
How would I like to see it grow? More conversations like you and I have had tonight. I mean, that's with anything. You need to sit down and actually have an actual conversation, not just like, oh, you said this, I said this, you're wrong, you're wrong. Why don't you try and find a middle ground instead of arguing about it? So
yeah, I think that's important. I think it's just we live in a time of people like to argue.
Yeah.
Instead of just talking.
Yeah.
I may not agree with everything you say, but I'm not going to call you stupid or, I think we live in a time of just, the internet doesn't help, but
it could help. It could be our greatest asset, but also one of our biggest downfalls because
anyway, is there a plug or anything you want to plug, or do you have anything you want to plug? Or
I can't think of anything for plugging. I mean, there are a couple of books that I've read that are really cool. Actually, I just reordered one because I can't find the one. What was it? Cryptozoology A to Z. It's actually a really neat book. That's where I found out about the Vietnamese monkey. I used that in a speech in college, and that was a cool book.
Okay, well, I really appreciate the time. It was really nice of you to take the time to talk to me, and I'm sorry that I told you about my stupid ghost stories. That was we're supposed to be talking about like Bigfoot, and I'm talking about something that happened.
Yeah, that is what it is. So.
It is what it is, but we'll save it for another time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Well, folks, we've been talking to Ben Beyl. Sorry, let me say it. Ben Beyl.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad you weren't. You didn't have cold feet. I appreciate it, and it means a lot to just talk to somebody and get their point of view. Yeah, we will. We will.
Actually, talk about like Loch Ness and stuff like that.
Yeah, next time we'll pick a subject and then we'll stick to it. And then if I go off of it, you just go, hey. You know, let's get back to the stuff we were supposed to. I apologize about going off on the other crap, but I don't know. Just it's one of those. It's a Saturday night, folks. Give me a break. The Leafs are probably down 6-2 or something. All right, so anyways, you enjoy the rest of your night, okay?
Thank you. You as well. Vito, right?
Yes, the Amazing Vito, folks. And please subscribe and there's tons of other videos and interviews, and I'll put a link to that show, and you can see it for yourself, and hopefully you like it. And if you don't, lie, you know. But if there's any subject that um, you want us to talk about, you want to be serious, uh, you know, drop a comment, let me know, and then next time when I talk to Ben, we could talk about that subject or whatever you would like us to talk about. But if it's something stupid, uh, yeah. Anyways, yeah, even if it's something stupid, it'd be fun. All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with cryptozoology. I mean, like Loch Ness, there's in Canada Ogopogo, and here in the States there's Lake Champlain. I mean,
yeah,
there's,
champ.
yep, Champ. And I mean, you also can get into supernatural cryptozoology, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can talk about with it. So we
There's
will.
everything. There's even, I mean, I noticed there's, if you go on any, God, there'll be like, uh, I found one site that's just about buttons. I'm like, that's all they talk about is buttons, but yeah, they buttons. Could you imagine just being the nerd, like the guy that just runs the place, like button, it's just
Like clothing buttons or like
clothing buttons. That's all
okay.
that's it. That's all they talk about is buttons,
That
and
actually
and
sounds fascinating.
I'm like, wow, that is fascinating. Wow, but hey, man, if you like it, you like it.
Oh yeah.
Who am I to judge how stupid you are? All right. Anyways, Ben, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, folks. I'm the Amazing Vito. Be good, be kind, and respect each other. Try to. Okay. If not, you're a piece of crap. All right. All right. Ciao. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome. Have a good night.